At the beginning, Nazi soldiers are seen holding a man and his young daughter hostage. They believe the two of them are Soviet spies. However, the man swears that he and his daughter are not spies, but ordinary civilians. He keeps begging the Nazi soldiers to let them go because they have done nothing wrong. However, the Nazi commander does not believe him and orders his men to prepare for the execution. Just as the execution is about to take place, the soldiers are suddenly shot from a distance. It turns out the one who killed them is a deadly Soviet sniper known as the Red Ghost. Because of how lethal he has earned the nickname the Red Ghost. The man is shocked that he has come face to face with a legendary figure who is highly respected among the Soviet people. He then thanks the Red Ghost for saving them. And this is the Red Ghost. The scene shifts to several surviving Soviet soldiers. At that moment, they are searching for a place to rest after successfully escaping from the Nazi forces in the city. Not long after, the Soviet captain named Moryakyok finds a man sleeping under a tree. Realizing that the man is also a Soviet citizen, Moryakyok invites him to join their group. They then continue their journey in search of a safe place to rest. As night begins to fall, Moryakyok and his men decide to stay overnight in an abandoned building. One of Moryakyok's soldiers is badly injured after being hit by a Nazi bomb. Not long after, the soldier dies because he can no longer endure the pain. His wife, who is also a Soviet soldier, can only cry as she watches her husband pass away. The next day, an elite Nazi patrol is seen moving through the area. They soon discover the bodies of their fallen comrades who were killed by the Red Ghost. A colonel quickly realizes that it must have been his doing. He then explains to his men, including a black uniformed soldier named Braun, how dangerous the Red Ghost truly is. According to the information he has, the Red Ghost has already killed 100 Nazi soldiers by himself. Hearing this, Braun does not believe it, thinking it is impossible for one man to be that powerful. In the end, the colonel assigns Braun to hunt down the Red Ghost, assisted by several other soldiers. The scene shifts back to Moryakyok, the Soviet captain. His group has managed to find a nearby settlement. Moryakyok leads his men there. When they arrive, they enter the settlement, only to discover that it is already abandoned, as the residents have been killed by the Nazi soldiers. Not long after, one of Moryakyok's men finds a large amount of food on a table and is about to eat it. Fortunately, another soldier stops him, warning that the food has likely been poisoned by the Nazis. Because they are extremely hungry, they begin arguing and even fighting with each other. In another room, the woman whose husband died the night before develops a high fever. When she is examined, it is discovered that she is pregnant. Her name is Vera. Meanwhile, outside, Moryakyok and his men pay their respects to the bodies of the former residents who were killed by the Nazis. At the same time, Braun, the elite Nazi soldier, and his unit are on their way to search for the Red Ghost under the colonel's orders. One of Braun's men suggests that they rest at the settlement they destroyed earlier. Braun agrees, and they head toward that location. At the same time, Braun, the elite Nazi soldier, and his unit are on their way to hunt down the Red Ghost, following the colonel's orders. Along the way, one of Braun's men suggests that they rest for a while at the settlement they destroyed earlier. Braun agrees, and they head straight toward that location. Back at the settlement, the Soviet troops are still there, and are now planning to search for several missing members. As for Vera, because it is now known that she is pregnant, she is told to stay behind and wait for the others to return. Not long after they leave, Braun and his soldiers arrive at the settlement, which turns out to be the same place where Vera is hiding. Panic immediately sets in, and she quickly hides inside a chest. Moryakyok and his men, who have not gone far, soon realize that the Nazi soldiers have entered the settlement. They grow worried about Vera's safety. However, attacking right away would be too dangerous since they are low on ammunition, while the Nazis are heavily armed. In the end, Moryakyok decides to observe from a distance and wait, hoping the Nazis will leave soon. Inside the house, Braun and his men begin searching the area. His assistant, Otto, warns the others not to eat the food on the table, explaining that he had poisoned it earlier to trap Soviet soldiers. At the same time, Vera remains hidden inside the chest, overhearing everything Braun and Otto say about their violent acts. Before long, she cannot hold it any longer and wets herself, which alerts one of the soldiers to her presence. She is then captured. Vera is brought in for interrogation by Braun. She pretends to be an ordinary civilian and claims to be part of the family who lived there. However, Otto notices that her face does not appear in the family photograph. It becomes clear that she is lying. Despite her attempts to deny it, Otto eventually finds her military uniform and identification. Realizing that Vera is a Soviet soldier, Braun coldly orders Otto to execute her outside. From a distance, Moryashiok and his men see Vera being taken out to be executed. Without hesitation, Moryashiok orders his soldiers to attack the Nazi guards outside, while he and the others provide cover from afar. One by one, the Nazi soldiers guarding the area are silently taken down by Moryashiok's men. As for Vera, she is about to be executed by Otto and another soldier when sudden gunfire erupts, killing them instantly. The attack comes from the Red Ghost. Realizing this, Moryashiok and his men immediately move in to support him. A brutal firefight breaks out between the Nazi and Soviet forces, allowing Vera to escape and hide safely. In the middle of the battle, Braun, who had been preparing to take a warm bath, ends up trapped inside the bathroom. With no way out, he can only hide and hope that his troops will win the fight. Meanwhile, Otto is shot in the leg. His head hits the ground, but he is still breathing, so he chooses to pretend that he is dead. At this point, the only Nazi soldiers left are Braun and Otto, who is still playing dead. Braun is now completely alone, trapped without clothes or weapons. He desperately thinks of a way to escape. In the end, he puts on a woman's dress and sneaks out through the back. Moryashiok and his men soon realize that the Nazi soldiers have been defeated and gather to enter the house. However, when they open the door, they find the Red Ghost collapsed from extreme exhaustion. Without wasting time, Moryashiok and the others quickly carry him inside to treat him. While waiting for him to regain consciousness, Moryashiok and his men take a moment to celebrate their victory. They eat the food that had been brought by the Nazi soldiers. Not long after, as Moryashiok and his men begin planning their next move, Vera suddenly feels intense pain. It becomes clear that she is about to give birth. Moryashiok and the others immediately help her through the process. With nothing but courage and determination, they manage to deliver the baby safely. Vera feels both happiness and sadness at the same time. Relieved that her child is alive, but heartbroken that her husband is gone, Moryashiok comforts her and promises that he and the others will care for the baby as if it were their own. The scene then shifts to a Nazi colonel whose vehicle has slipped on the snow. Not long after, they see someone approaching while wearing a woman's dress. It turns out to be Braun, who managed to escape the earlier battle. Now, Braun truly believes that the legend of the Red Ghost is real and that he is incredibly powerful. The colonel then decides to launch another attack on the settlement, hoping that the Red Ghost is still there. Back at the settlement, the Red Ghost regains consciousness and reaches for his weapon. He senses that the Nazi forces will soon arrive. As a result, Moryashiok and his men prepare themselves for another battle. Before long, the Nazi troops arrive under the command of the colonel. Braun is also there, now dressed again in his military uniform. They prepare to attack, while the colonel and Braun wait behind a pile of snow. Soon the battle begins, and explosions erupt across the area. In the middle of the chaos, Vera hides while trying to calm her crying baby. Meanwhile, the Red Ghost continues his ruthless assault, taking down Nazi soldiers one by one from a distance. Seeing this, Braun asks the colonel for permission to personally hunt down the Red Ghost. Confident that he can finally defeat him, Braun enters the battlefield. The colonel agrees and allows him to go. Not long after Braun leaves, the colonel and one of his soldiers remain behind, watching the area from the snow. Suddenly, a grenade lands right behind them. In an instant, the Red Ghost appears and opens fire, making sure the colonel is truly dead. Realizing that the colonel has fallen, Braun takes command and orders his troops to continue the attack. At first, Moryashiok's forces gain the upper hand. However, as their ammunition runs out, they are slowly overwhelmed. One by one, they fall, including Moryashiok himself. Soon, only a few of Moryashiok's people remain, including Vera and one of her companions inside the house. Outside, the Red Ghost continues fighting, taking down Braun's soldiers one by one. After eliminating the last of them, only Braun remains. The Red Ghost quickly approaches him and openly challenges him to a duel. Braun accepts, and the two engage in a fierce fight. In the end, Braun is defeated by the Red Ghost. Moments later, the Red Ghost moves toward the house to check on Vera. Suddenly, he is shot. The one who fires the shot is Otto, who had been pretending to be dead. Otto is filled with joy, believing he has finally killed the legendary figure feared by the Nazi forces. As he laughs, another gunshot rings out and strikes him from behind, killing him instantly. The one who fired the shot is revealed to be Prostachiok, one of Moryashiok's men who survived. He enters the house to check on Vera and her companion. Inside, he finds them safe. The three of them leave the area before more Nazi soldiers arrive. 1 week later, new Nazi troops are seen attacking another village. They have been sent by Hitler to hunt down the Red Ghost, who is rumored to still be alive. The same man who was captured at the beginning of the story is taken prisoner again and questioned about the Red Ghost's whereabouts. He swears that he knows nothing and explains that he is only there to work. The Nazi soldiers do not believe him and prepare to execute him. Suddenly, gunfire erupts, and the soldiers are killed. After the Nazi soldiers fall, a figure appears, the one responsible for wiping them out. The villagers believe it must be the Red Ghost, but the truth is revealed. It is not him. It is Prostochok. From that moment on, Prostochok takes the place of the fallen legend. He vows to kill 1,000 Nazi soldiers with his own hands. From then on, the people give him a new name, the Black Ghost. So the moral of the story is, if you mess with the wrong people, someone else might steal your legend while you lose your life and your dignity.